Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany, and my husband and I are the owners of Creative Designs by Tiffany, a flower shop and event space located in upstate New York. I'm excited to enter the 4th season and now officially can say the rewrite will primarily be something very important to my heart: God, Jesus, and religion. We are going to cover some relevant topics to our everyday life with practical guests that you all are going to love. I, if anyone knows, we're all sinners in need of saving, so I'm doing this podcast in hope that it plants some seeds, gets you thinking, and opens a conversation of why we're truly here on planet Earth. Thanks for continuing the journey with me. And with that, I have my first two guests. It is going to be Pastor Brad, which it didn't have to be a pastor necessarily, but it just so happened to be that way. Pastor Brad and his wife Lynné, Chesebro, right? Where are you guys actually from? Because I know the texting, we went like kind of Utica, and you're in Johnstown, New York. Is that where you guys are based, or pretty much, or?
Correct.
Okay.
So we met in Utica. I lived
Okay.
out there for like 30 years.
Okay.
He was pastoring a church for about 5-6 years.
Okay.
We met. He got relocated, reassigned to Johnstown.
Awesome.
Well, Gloversville technically, but we live in Johnstown.
Okay.
And now the new church is in Johnstown.
Okay, amazing. So we're right in the middle then. So that's nice. I was trying to make the connection there too with you guys. So as I had said in the rewrite, I had started out a podcast doing flowers and floral arranging, which is obviously how we kind of connected. And now I'm kind of looking at, like I said, like I'd like to cover some really relevant topics that I think are very important to my heart. And so we're going to tie it all in together. And you guys are the perfect kind of people too, I think, for this. Because funny enough, of course, I met them through flowers.
That's true.
And it has to do with religion and church.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is perfect. And it's not, of course, my phone's going off. I didn't silence it. I apologize.
Bad.
And that's our producer, Dave, over here in the corner telling me,
you're
move
in trouble.
closer, all of that.
You're in trouble again.
So anyway, so we'll get back to it. So with the flowers, what it was Lynné had actually contacted me about Night to Shine, which if anybody knows this, again, the relevance of religion and all of that, Tim Tebow, who most anybody has ever heard of. He is a football player. I think he did baseball a little bit, commentator, all of that. He has this thing called Night to Shine, which I had heard of over the years, and I didn't realize we had a local place doing it. So when Lynné had reached out to me, it was kind of happenstance, right? Because there were florists out where you guys are, and there wasn't anybody to fill them. Then the woman who I buy flowers from actually is the one who told you to contact us.
Correct.
So pretty cool roundabout way of how that happened.
And now we're here.
Yes, exactly. And now you guys are here too. So it was really neat how that all came together. And as when Lynné came in, my helper up in Dallarsville, like we were just so excited to do it and fun. Like it's a tedious thing if you know what boutonnieres are as far as, flower stuff. But it was one of the coolest things to be a part of without being a part of. So I said, I'd love to have you guys on to talk a little bit about it. So thank you very much. So the first thing I'll ask you is, we'll back up a little bit. So how did you start with this Night to Shine, or what kind of brought it about?
Night to Shine is something we looked at for a couple of years in my previous churches. It's currently in its 11th year, so it's been going on for a while. I had some pastor friends who talked about doing it and stuff. I didn't feel that previously I had the space to do it or the money. I know the cost was kind of prohibitive for some until I really further explored it.
It's cool. Very, very cool. So I know we did about 130, I want to say. So you had about 130 people that came to this, plus everybody brings a guest. Is that how I understand it too? Or not a guest, but someone there with them, let's put it that way.
We had basically 130 guests.
Okay.
We had probably close to 100 volunteers.
Wow.
And a lot of those guests brought parents with them, or the parents brought the guests with them stuff. So we estimate 350 people.
Wow, which is amazing. So that speaks to the space thing that you were talking about then.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're not talking like 20 people. This is a really big
No,
thing.
to have that many people in a room and the dance floors and everything else, it takes a great location to do that, which we have.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So then you guys collaborate with two different places, or one other place, I think, too, or?
Two different places.
Okay.
So we have Fulmont Community Church out of Gloversville. They had the volunteers, they had the resources. The lead person, not necessarily the pastor, but the lead person there is Dr. Kevin Cope. He has two brothers with special needs as well, so this was near and dear to his heart. he didn't have the location.
Okay.
So Night to Shine, I believe, had reached out to Brad, said, would you want to collaborate with another church in your area? So they got together, decided, yeah, this is great. So that was last year. This year, we have another church that rents space out of our building, out of our church.
Okay.
So they wanted to become part of it as well.
Amazing.
So there's technically 3 churches that were involved this year.
That is so cool. So that collaboration, I'm going to get back to that in a second there too. But so tell me what Night to Shine is for anybody who hasn't heard of Tim Tebow, what the whole thing is, what the premise is. I have a friend that works, I believe it's for Lexington, which is in Fulton County. Yes. In Herkimer County, we have Herkimer ARC, and then I believe Montgomery is
Liberty.
Okay. So can you explain a little bit about what actually Night to Shine is?
Sure, yeah. It's all part of the Tim Tebow Foundation. It's one of his ministries. He says in his website that he's all for the MVPs, the most vulnerable people in the world. Mm-hmm. He does a lot with human trafficking, trying to reunite families and things. The easiest way to maybe describe Night to Shine is a special needs prom. About 16% of the world has special needs or some kind of disability. Mm-hmm. And it's really a chance for them to just be celebrated and show God's love to them. Many of these people maybe weren't asked to the high school prom or weren't able to go. So it's really just a special night dedicated just to honoring them and celebrating them and showing them the hope and love of Jesus.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you do food, right? And then obviously dancing, and then there's like little stations, right, that they can go and do different things, like activities-wise. And
correct, yes.
How cool is that? So tell me one of your, because you guys obviously attended this year, so what was one of your favorite memories or something to see when you were out there seeing everyone?
Boy, I think for me, I'm always just amazed at the parents who come with these children. And they'll come up to us and just so thankful for us, thanking us for everything we do, and say, I haven't seen my daughter or my son smile in like 10 years.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Like, thank you for just seeing them joy-filled and dancing. And, to me, it's the volunteers who help us also just coming and saying, I'm just amazed. Thank you for letting me be part of this. I feel so good inside about this. So it's really heartwarming just hearing the stories and talking to the parents.
That is really neat. So that's kind of what we felt like. And like I said, being a part of it, but not quite all the way out there, being a part of it, that's exactly how we felt too. So it's an awesome program. And you guys are in your second, third, how many years doing it?
2 years
2
so
years
far.
now. Okay. And continuing on, right?
We're planning on doing it in 2026
okay,
as well.
Amazing.
Yes.
And it's, unfortunately for the florist world, it is always the Friday before Valentine's Day. Is that what I hear?
Yes.
So you can mark your calendars now that it is the Friday before Valentine's Day. But yeah, I think it's one of the coolest things. And, the people, I'm sure, just had so much fun, and just I've heard some through the grapevine. They were looking forward to it. So you guys did a great thing, I think, which I'm so happy to get to highlight with you too.
Oh.
So
yeah, it's very much so. They dressed to the nines.
Yes.
I mean, it's a big thing. So even when they come there, we have like a primping station. If you guys want to run a comb through their hair or a little touch up on the makeup or something, we do that part. A lot of pictures being taken. Obviously, we have professional photographers, videographers there.
That's awesome.
There were separate rooms they could go into. As you mentioned, there was a karaoke room.
Awesome.
And boy, they love to sing karaoke.
You wouldn't want me in that room.
Yeah. Food was eaten quickly. We bought a lot of food, but they were indulging. So, and the dance, we had a DJ all night long.
That's
so
amazing.
A lot of people dancing and just partying. It was
That's so cool.
We had photo booth, or they could do like silly faces and wear the silly hats and the silly sunglasses and things like that. So they could be normal, being silly and being different, so
how cool.
They really liked doing that. And all the services are free to them.
That's
and
amazing.
We had another photographer that came in that after the guests registered, they went over and got their pictures taken. So at the end of the night, we had basically a count of all of the guests, but we also had pictures of each individual person. And then what we did is one of the volunteers made 150 picture frames.
Oh my goodness.
So she put in about 8 hours to each frame, picture frame. And we were able to fill those picture frames with each individual's picture and then deliver them to them either at home or at their
So
facility.
cool. So it's like a keepsake that keeps going. Then for
Absolutely.
them. That's amazing then. Can you tell us, I know it's kind of far out there, and I know you had said when you stopped in to get the boutonnieres and stuff that you had a ton of volunteers, but are you looking for something maybe next year that an extra step that you may need more people or more things even? I don't even know what it could be, but fireworks say. I'm not I'm not going to put you on the spot with that, but do you have any goals like for next year that might be something that now people can start thinking about?
Yeah, it's always a hope for us to kind of expand it, to add more things as well. This year, one of the things we added was a party bus.
Okay.
With
I heard about
music
that.
and stuff, and that was they're having a blast in that.
That's amazing.
We did that. We had a cheering line of basically a little red carpet rolled out. When the guests would enter, we had probably 30, 40 people lined and just clapping and cheering and holding up signs and different things. So really cool stuff. I like the fact that we, every year it's different, but we give out gift bags, kind of some swag, if you will.
Awesome.
With I think from sunglasses to, I think we had teddy bears and blankets and a lot of it themed with Night to Shine, but just some really great stuff. So not only do they get they get fed and they can dance and they get gifts, and it's just a really great fun night. So,
awesome.
But for them, again, even wearing, keeping the name tag is important for them. Just kind of remember and share that stuff, and they want to give them up. Can we take your name tags back? No. We hang on to that one. So.
I think one of the things next year we're looking to do is perhaps announce the guests as they come down the red carpet.
How cool.
So that way everybody gets recognized and your name is read, and it's it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
So that's one thing. Maybe fireworks.
Yeah, I know. 5-year plan, right? We can put it in the 5-year for it.
Sure.
So how
outside
cool.
though, outside.
Yeah. Well, we have a field. Sure.
Maybe one year we'll have nice weather on Valentine's Day, the Friday before Valentine's
You
Day.
never
So
know.
that might be a thing you can do. So I think it's a really neat thing. And, the Tim Tebow Foundation in general, I mean, this is all over, right? It's not just in the United States. It's all over, right?
Correct. This the Night to Shine event took place in over 800 churches.
Oh my gosh.
In over 60 different countries.
Wow, it's
So
amazing.
it's spreading.
That's amazing.
Right now, we're currently the only host for that in Fulmont and Montgomery County, I believe.
Right.
But we're always looking to share with others and kind of encourage them to get started.
Yeah.
We obviously the first year was a little difficult, just struggling and learning new things and not knowing what to anticipate. Second year was much easier. Third year, again, we hope so. But we can pour that knowledge into some other places.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is a really cool thing. And I'm really happy that you got to come on and talk about this today, too. And I'm looking at my timer. Am I about halfway or not quite? I am about halfway. All right. So we'll do a quick commercial break, and then I have a couple follow-up questions at the end there, too. So
Visit the Daily Post and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the Mohawk Valley. Our mission is to generate interest in the area and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes Store, listen to our podcast, or sign up for our weekly email newsletter. Stop by today at thedailypost.digital. You'll be glad you did.
very nice. I like that. I like watching the commercials too. It's
You
good
like
for me,
seeing
too.
yourself is what you did.
Well, I didn't realize you had split me in though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
that's
you were
cool
in
then.
there.
I guess I'm part of the local news then.
You
then,
are.
I guess. Yeah. All right. Well, good. So, like I said, I was going to ask you a couple of follow-up questions now with it. So, you kind of touched upon it. So basically the whole reason why Tim Tebow basically started this is just so that they can feel the love of Jesus, right? And so not like preaching down their throat, right? It was just to show them the love of God, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. It just that you are, again, a lot of scripture talks about you're a masterpiece. You're created well. And some people think they have faults and they maybe physical disformities or something, but the fact that they are special in God's eyes and they're perfect and that they are loved.
It's amazing.
And oftentimes people just want that, just know that they are cared about, they're celebrated, they're appreciated.
It's true. It is very true. So then on that end too, I'm going to ask you about that too, with the collaboration of the churches, right? So that's always something that you hear, the Methodists, the Catholics, the Presbyterians, everybody has their own little niche. And that was the thing that, I don't even know that you realized this when you told me this when you came in, when Lynné had come in and talked about who was doing this. And it was 3 different projects, all coming together. How did you manage that?
Well, I think sometimes these different denominations, different churches, we can focus on our small differences that we have.
Yep.
We chose, 95% of the stuff we agree upon, the gospel of Christ and those things, and we just chose to really focus on that.
That's awesome.
In fact, there was just a great collaboration, just trust in each other. We let one of the newer pastors share the gospel, and again, it wasn't, as you're talking about, kind of shove the dove, I call it sometimes, just kind of push it on people, but just tell them, listen, God loves you, God cares about you, and you're special, and we're just glad to have you here. So collaboration sometimes gets difficult, again, because we focus on different views on communion or different things, but overall, most of the stuff we can agree upon.
Yeah, which is the coolest thing. And I said on something on that level too, if you didn't have that many people helping, you probably each one wouldn't be able to do it on its own. So I think that was a really cool thing.
Yes.
So then tell me a little bit too about, now it's Foothills Worship Center, which is where you guys are from. So can you explain to me a little bit about what you guys do? You rent out space to a different church even, which is amazing, which is the coolest. I've never heard that before. And I was like, that's cool in itself. So, tell me about kind of what you guys do, Bible studies, things like that. But, Sunday morning, obviously, which is probably the time you meet. And what kind of, I guess, denomination will you, if people are wondering, or tell me a little bit about Foothills Worship Center?
Well, we come from Foothills United Methodist Church. Okay. We were there in Gloversville for about 200 years.
Okay.
In a church that was 200 years old and needed some repair and was not in the best location anymore. Looking to build something, perhaps near the Johnstown area. And we looked at something, bought some land, but the building project went from $10 million to $15 million. The cost was just astronomical. Yep. So we found a closed elementary school in Johnstown. Wow. Cool. With the full court gymnasium, the cafeteria, the ball fields, the playgrounds, awesome. Everything. So we bought that building outright with cash that we had raised. And realizing soon that, my goodness, we have 33,000 square foot. Yeah, and so what can we do for that? With Greater Grace Church coming in, I'm always a figure this. I'm not trying to build my kingdom or their kingdom. We're trying to build God's kingdom. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you need space and we have space, we should help you out with that. That kind of collaboration. We're not in competition with each other. So
that's amazing.
We did that. We have a photography studio there.
That's amazing.
We obviously moved our food pantry in from our previous location. The food pantry is just booming. Yeah. Several hundred people a week coming in. The need is so great. Mm-hmm. Boy Scouts are meeting there. We have Office for the Aging. It serves weekly meals there for the seniors. We also rent out space to a preschool program, Fulton County preschool program, which takes up a couple classrooms, which is, again, a great use of the space.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm on. So, we've got the AAU basketball programs that are coming in, renting out time for the gym, for practice. There's a soccer team that comes in, or soccer league that comes in. It all started with Johnstown School District looking for a place to practice their lacrosse.
Wow.
And so for the younger kids, and so we're like, we should do something with the gymnasium. And word started getting out. People were like, well, can I have a birthday party here? Wow. So now we do birthday parties. So for example, the next 2 weekends, both Saturday and Sunday, we've got 2 birthday parties happening each day.
So cool.
So that helps supplement some of the income, especially we've had a cold winter. It helps with the national grid bills. It helps with, the lighting. It helps with a lot of things. And so we've got that all going on. So, we're not trying to rake people over the coals with pricing for these parties. We're just trying to help us a little bit to keep the lights on and help people have a safe place for their kids, because all the doors are locked, and It keeps the kids safe while they're having their birthday party. We have the bounce houses that they have brought in.
That's awesome.
So it's just really a neat space to be able to use like that too.
So cool.
We've got our Sunday school, of course, for Sunday mornings. We're working on getting more people for the nursery because we've had a couple of little ones coming in lately, which is great because the congregation is growing. And we want to be able to offer these services during Sunday service so the parents can be focused on God and what my husband Brad here is saying. We always want to listen to those sermons. And
that's awesome.
So meanwhile, I'm back there running the PowerPoint presenter.
We certainly have mission groups that meet during the week, crafting groups. There are Bible studies and classes as well. Sunday morning worship is at 10 a.m.
Yep.
We live stream and record everything as well. But we try to see the place, Foothills Worship Center, is not so much just a church, but it's a worship center where other things can happen within there. We're kind of a community center. We've hosted from the New York State training their dogs there
the
to
state troopers.
we do annually open up the doors for Halloween, decorate all 35 doors in the congregation, bring 200-300 kids through. We're doing a community indoor trick-or-treat. We're doing a community Easter egg hunt this year for the community, so we're trying to help out in those ways as well.
That's very cool. Well, when you say Foothills Worship Center, it definitely is a center. I can't believe all of those things. And if every church could do that, I can't. That's how you're connected to your community too. So I think
we have a missions group. Not to cut you off. A missions group that they put together care bags for some of the local chemotherapy patients.
Wow.
So they take those over to the hospital, Nathan Latour Hospital, or St. Mary's, or wherever they, maybe one of the nursing homes, rehabilitation programs. They make lap robes. Wow. They make little little preemie hats for the little kids, little babies that are in like the NICU or whatever. Yep. So they're trying to reach out to the community and do things. We've thought about doing other things like stocking some snacks in teachers' conference rooms, just to let them know we're here. Yeah, that's very cool. We have a person that comes to church. She's part of the community. What is it? What does Pam do? It's a community service program within Fulton County, Johnstown. And so she has kids that maybe have gotten into trouble somehow, haven't gone to school when they're supposed to and gotten into the system. She has them come do community service when need be.
Oh, wow.
So they help out in the food pantry. Lately we had a little boy, I can't say little boy, he was 13. To me,
little, I'm 6'8". So
young gentleman. He came and he was so fulfilled. He's like, I love it here. So cool. He's like, you guys are awesome. He goes, I want to come back on my breaks. So we'll see. He hasn't yet, but there haven't been any other breaks yet. So we'll give him a chance.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, it does. It seems like, and in how many years have you guys actually been in that location then?
It'll be 3 come
So just
July.
in 3 years.
Yeah.
You're making a name, if you will, for yourself.
Absolutely.
There as a hub.
Yes. I think people who walk in say, I used to go to school here, or my kids went to school here, so there's kind of some familiarity. Yeah. I always think it's incredible that people come to church because it takes a lot of bravery to do that. Especially behind a big oak door and you open that up, you're not sure what people are wearing or what they're doing or how crazy they might be. And so the fact that we're kind of open up and all throughout the week, there's always something going on at church.
Awesome. So that's awesome. So it's one of those things too that church isn't necessarily just on a Sunday either, right? So you're every day.
Worship is a lifestyle, we believe.
Exactly. So on that same note, so I'm going to ask you my first, 5 questions or whatever I'm going to try and do with people. So this is just to kind of lighten it and keep it so people are relevant with us or whatever. But do you guys listen to a lot of podcasts or read a lot of books? Do you have one right now that's like top of your list that you've been reading besides the Bible, I'll say? So next 2 we'll say.
For me, the book I've been reading right now is Canoeing the Mountains.
Okay.
Ted Bossinger, I believe his name is. A story about Lewis and Clark, who going basically on their journey out west, realized they came to the mountains and how were they going to go over them. So it's really about finding a new way, going off a beaten track, pursuing a new relevant future. So for me, I'm always looking for leadership stuff we can look at. So for me, that was a book, Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits I'm also reading as well. So
Amazing.
He's read everything, I think, that's out there. You walk in his office and it's literally wall-to-wall books. It's like you just walked into a library.
English major too. So
Yes.
but I love books. I love learning. So
You're like the second person in a week or two that's talked about that one book, the Lewis and Clark book.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that in the last week or so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
it's a great book.
So, and then now, how long have you actually been a pastor? Has it been your whole life, or did you start out doing
I guess I'd call it a second career.
Okay,
I worked for Rite Aid Pharmacy in the drugstore business
Okay.
For about 21 years.
Okay, yep.
And I've been doing this for about 21 years now. So
awesome.
never thought I was going to be where I am now,
Yeah.
but God's got plans for us, and He pursued me. So I'm really, in my former career, I kind of got up the wall of success, whatever, and realized maybe I'm climbing the wrong wall.
Yeah.
And there's still something that God hole shaped, I guess, within me that was climbing to do something else. And I call it kind of my chariots of fire. The Olympic runner there says, when I run, I sense God's pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I'm preaching, when I'm teaching, I sense God's pleasure. That's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's very cool then. And then as a pastor's wife, how do you feel about being a pastor's wife?
Oh, I jumped in with both feet.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I didn't really have too much of a choice in the say, but if I've had several different jobs throughout my life, and when I met Brad in 2019, I was doing some home care, and I had like 4 different jobs to just try to make ends meet. And then we ended up getting married and moved out here to Johnstown, and I was driving back and forth to the Utica area every day. And he said, I really need a new office manager. I'm like, okay. He's like, you'd be great at it. And I'm like, but I don't know if I want to work in a church. Not that I'm anti-church by any means. It just with my lifestyle being home care and the jobs I'd had, it did not give me the opportunity necessarily to go to church every Sunday.
Right. Yeah.
So, I ended up becoming the office manager, and now I do the office stuff. I do the public relations stuff. I do social media, rentals.
can you play the organ?
Not yet. But if I watch our organist long enough, I just might.
Right. That's important, right? Then you have a jack of all trades, then you're
Oh
good.
my goodness. It's crazy. I do the tech stuff. People are like, Lynné, my computer's not working. Can you help me with that? Sure.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do. And it's really just fumbling around till you figure it out.
Yes,
That's really what it is.
Exactly.
No, it's not. Come on.
Anyone
He's the
can do it.
tech guy.
demean me like
Those
that.
are the tech people. I know. I'm not techie. These guys are. So, it's amazing, though. Well, you seem like you're a good, and I honestly, too, I should have said this at the beginning of the podcast. I have never met Pastor Brad and Lynné. I had just quite a quick interaction with, but just seeing you guys in the 25 minutes we've been in here and stuff, I think you guys complement each other very well, and I think that I'm sure your congregation is very lucky to have you, blessed to have you, however you want to say it, doing things that I think are important, or whatever that means for anyone, but the practicalness of it and just showing God's love to everyone, even through those events and all of the little events that I didn't know you guys did at the same time too. So I'm really excited to have you on. Do you have anything else you'd like to share while you have the floor? Or?
I'm just thankful for the opportunity to get to meet you and
yeah.
to tell more about this Tim Tebow Night to Shine Foundation that we're doing. So Foothills Worship Center, fwc3.org is our
Amazing.
website with all our sermons and all our notes on there. So fwc3.org.
Awesome. I was just going to ask you about that too. So that you have a Facebook, right, too? Because that was where I sent all of his pictures and
Foothills Worship Center.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then you live stream too. Is it on Facebook, or there's a link on there, right?
I post the link every Sunday morning. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Brad's style isn't really preaching. It's not preaching to you. He's helping you to understand
More teaching, I would say.
everything that's going on that happened in the Bible and how it all came to be that we're here now.
That's amazing. Very, very cool. Do you have a favorite verse you want to share? I had one for today and I forgot to do it at the intro. Do you have one favorite verse?
I guess
No pressure. Tick.
I'm probably going to go with Jeremiah 29:11.
Yep.
I know the plans I have for you, says
Yes.
the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So
Amazing.
picking one is tough
I
because
know.
there's so many great ones.
Yes, and sometimes for me they change. In the time of life, sometimes it
I agree.
changes.
I
So
agree.
yes, well, today that is absolutely a
During
great
the dark
verse.
season was Romans 8:28.
Oh, yeah,
Not
yeah,
a bad guy,
yep,
but
yep.
good. So it's
Absolutely.
Right there, yeah.
So, well, great. Well, I'm so happy you guys got to come on. Like I said, connect with them on Facebook and website, however they need to. And 10 o'clock, you said, on
10 o'clock Sunday mornings.
Sunday mornings. And what is the actual address of your church, if you don't mind sharing it too?
305 Jansen